To me,
Yeah.
there's something you wouldn't do, man.
What is that?
You would not make out with Barney.
No, I don't think we should, man.
Yeah, but I think you wouldn't, man. I don't think you have the guts to do it.
I can do anything I damn well please, man.
I don't think you're big enough man to do this.
I could make a.
Well, fine, do it then. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it.
3, 2, 1.
So we're gonna speak about peer pressure. And before we dive into that, I just want to speak to you guys. What is peer pressure? Now I know most of you guys are thinking yeah, we know what is peer pressure, but you obviously don't. Because if you knew what was peer pressure,
we wouldn't be here.
we wouldn't be here.
But here we are.
Speaking about this at all.
I wouldn't have made out with Barney.
Yes.
So we actually want to define what peer pressure is before we jump into all of this. So peer pressure is you want to please people because you or the fear of being rejected and the need to be accepted, right? So this peer pressure would force you to cross or move your boundaries just so that you can be accepted by other people.
Yes.
So we want to give you some tools today, just give you a few tools on how to defend and how to discern against peer pressure.
Yeah, but just a quick story before we dive into that, what's a really bad example of peer pressure. So I remember me and my friends went to this river to go fishing and camping and everything. And I was also in the other phase in my life where I felt into peer pressure a lot. And there's actually this sort of bridge thingy at the river that stops. So it's like a water bank and stops the water. And then we can climb up there, but you can only climb. Once you climb on top, you have to jump down. And then me and my friend went there out of peer pressure, obviously. And as soon as he got to the top, he froze. So he was afraid of the height, and then the security guard almost caught us and everything. It was a real thing. Luckily, we finally built up the courage to jump. And then also after we jumped, we realized we didn't know how close to the edge of the bridge thingy we were when we jumped off. And that was really a bad
So you guys
situation.
literally fell into peer pressure.
We literally fell into peer pressure. So we want to speak to you guys how not to fall into peer pressure.
How to fall.
How not to fall into peer pressure. I think we need to speak about how to stand your ground.
Yeah, how
properly.
do you stand your ground against peer pressure? And the first thing is to discern between peer pressure.
Yeah,
to
is
know
this good pressure or is this bad pressure?
Yeah. I like it. So the first one is, does it build me up?
That's a very good one. That's a very important one. And I think that's in any circumstance, whenever someone asks you to do something, you need to ask yourself, how is this going to benefit me? How is this going to help me? Is this going to do something good for me, or is this going to be something bad? So let's say, for instance, that one friend that keeps on nagging you to drink this, and then the other person also comes and he forces you to do certain things. In the end of the night, if you keep on drinking those stuff and falling into their pressure, they don't know necessarily what's good for you in that situation.
Yeah.
And then you'll probably do something dumb or foolish, and they will also enjoy it, because why would they force you to drink alcohol and keep on forcing you to drink alcohol?
Yeah.
The whole point of it is to get you at a place where you don't think straight, and then they can make sort of a joke out of you. And that's not beneficial at all. And that's just one of the examples of what would be, is not necessarily a bad thing if you have a group of friends that would support you in tasting certain things as well, experiencing new things, tasting this cake or doing whatever. I know I'm speaking about goody two-shoes things, I'm discerning between cake and alcohol, but you get the picture, right? There's certain things, people that would push you to your limits in a good way and that would benefit you, but there's also people that would push you to your limits but that would not benefit you. You need to discern whether that's going to build you up or break you down.
Yeah, and I think that's a really, really good thing. And another point that you can look at is, does it contradict my values? Does it go against my beliefs and my values? If let's say that my values that I will not drink or get drunk on any substance, but every time I go to a friend's place, he keeps forcing this thing down my throat, and eventually I have to make the call because it's contradicting against my values that it is bad peer pressure.
And then also the other question is, does it hurt my relationship? So at that moment, when you're in a place of pressure, you need to ask yourself the question, not just thinking about yourself, but thinking about the people around you. So that includes your friends and your family, and how that's going to benefit or be not beneficial towards them.
Yeah.
Is it going to break them down? Is it going to ruin your reputation with them? Or is this going to be a good thing for them, and that's also going to help them in that circumstances?
Yeah, and I like this other one is, does it build my relationship with God, or does it break it down as well?
Yeah.
Because if you're in a space where you are now going to do something that makes you question God, question your faith in God, or make you feel like a worm, or you're going to feel, oh, chacha, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, Lord, I'm a sinner. All of a sudden, because you've done this one thing that all your group had pressured you into doing, then it's horrible for you, man.
It's very horrible.
Heavy to carry.
And I think also just another thing is you need to ask yourself the question where the pressure is coming from. So just thinking about like the 2 seasons of my life in school, the pressure came from a wrong place. So let's say, for instance, my friends pressured me into doing things I'm not supposed to do, like the jumping into the river story. That was not a good decision whatsoever. But now I'm in a phase in my life where I'm currently working. I'm very young in my working environment as well. And I have a leader that's pressuring me and helping me grow in this environment, doing stuff that's way out of my comfort zone, but that is really beneficial towards me. So you need to ask yourself and discern from who this pressure is coming from. Is it from a wise and like really person you can trust, or is this just coming out of a place they want to see you do something ridiculous?
Yeah. And I think those are some good points on how to discern, how to see whether this is bad peer pressure or good peer pressure.
Yes.
But now we're going to give you guys some tools on how to defend against peer pressure, right? And the first one is this: my yes and my no. These are the simplest words you could ever use. These are baby words, but these are so powerful words. Make your yes mean yes and your no mean no. Because if I say yes to something, I allow it into my life. And if I say no to something, I keep it out. I make sure that it doesn't come through. And I think you had a story about your friend who, your story where he has a yes and a no that works for him, and he goes out anywhere he wants to go out, and he goes out in freedom because he knows that my boundaries are set. Because my no means no and my yes means yes. So if my mom asks me to wash dishes, I just say no because that's my boundary. That's what I'm not going to do it, mom. I'm just not going to do it.
Not today, mom.
Not today.
Not today. Don't you know?
Yes, it's
other
moldy,
work to do, like
but so what?
Finishing that Netflix series. I think also the other thing Tumi mentioned very earlier is your values, but actually not just to think of your values, but also thinking of where you're going, where you're heading into your future. And I think it's also very important to, wherever you go, before you go into a situation where you know there would be pressure, think of where you're heading, because it's very difficult in that moment, in that circumstances, to think bigger picture. It's very difficult when it's you and just that girl alone in that room thinking bigger pressure. It's very difficult when a group of 10 guys is surrounding you and telling you drink this, to think of the bigger picture. So whenever you go there, think of, know who you are, know your values, know your yeses, know your nos, and think bigger picture. Because when you know the bigger picture, it's really, really easier to say yes or no in that circumstances.
Yeah, I think it really helps to know that. I think in AA they say it's think through the bottle. Or think through the drink, is where if my friend offers me one shot of alcohol, I'll look through the rest of the night, and it's one shot, which is then turns into a 6-pack, which turns into a bottle, which turns into an argument with me and my wife or my spouse, which turns into my divorce. Because we agreed way beyond that I'm not going to drink anymore. It's bad for me. So if I look through the bottle, if I think through the drink, then I think what my outcome will be, and I think the bigger picture. And it's easy to say no because it's not about the shot. It's about the bigger picture.
Yeah. And I like that. And I also think your circle plays a big role in that.
Yeah, your circle of friends, man. It's hard to say no alone. It's hard to do life alone. So you need a group of people to keep you accountable, to help you and remind you that, listen, man, you moving to this direction. So I want to help you get there. And I want to walk with you to get there. And it might not necessarily mean that they carry the same convictions and the same things that you're carrying, but they're there to comfort you and to remind you that, listen, you are going this way. Think bigger picture.
Think bigger picture.
I like it.
And I think they would also I love it because if you're in the right circle, they also respect your yes and your no's. Yeah. That's another just advantage of being in the right circle.
Yeah. I like it. So just to wrap it up with a nice pretty bow, the way to defend and to discern against this peer pressure is 1, know your yeses, know your nos. 2, pick a good group of people around you, know your values, and always think about the bigger picture. Always keep that in mind. All right.
Yeah, and I think also just one last tip, think very strategically about it. And then also, I just want to the bigger picture is also, I just want to end off with this, is saying God has a plan and a purpose for you. We are Christians, we believe this, and we're not going to take this out of the picture. We're going to put this in the picture because this is also a very, very big motivation to making the right choices when it comes to peer pressure. Because God has a plan and a purpose for you. And obviously, if you make a few mistakes, it's not going to cancel out the plan or the purpose He has over your life. But He also wants all the things to benefit you. He wants good things for you. So why would he put you in a place? Why would he do certain things to you that's going to break you down? Why would he make you feel gaga after that day? That does not come from God. God only wants to give you peace, love and joy and grace and a bunch of it. So don't put yourself in circumstances where you're going to feel bad towards God.
Yeah. Always think the bigger picture.
3, 2, 1.
Well, my worst peer pressure. yeah. Mine definitely is when they said, hey, do you want to answer this question on the Good Question Show? The peer pressure one.
Does it count if I was the one applying the peer pressure? Chug, chug, chug.
I don't really remember mine. All I remember is chug, chug, chug.
So there was this guy playing piano and the other guy on stage asking the question, do you want to give your life to Jesus? So my friend next to me rose his hand and the other guy as well. And I thought to myself, I might as well.
It's hard to say because someone just said, hey, Aiden, have this brownie.
1 hour later.
Whoa. Who ate my brownie?
So one time I was at the beach and this guy came and knelt down on his knees and my family was there and he asked me to marry him. Whoops. #true story though.
My friends pressured me to take my clothes off in class.